So as you evolve in this life, you kind of become multidimensional. What I mean by this is you kind of like, you don't just become one individual who has their own interests, their own kind of personality, they like a certain thing but don't like another thing. You kind of become multidimensional in the sense that you become many, many different people in one. The only way I can describe this, guys, is like, let's say for instance, one day I'll be in the garden, I'll be gardening, I'll be making the garden look beautiful. I'll be in my wellies and I'll be a keen gardener, just doing his thing. Another day I'll go out for a walk and I'll have my hood up and I'll look shady, and people kind of move away from us when I walk near them. Another day I'll be dressed really nicely with my hair done, I'll be going out for coffee, I'll be chatting to people, I'll be enjoying the surroundings and being just a general nice person. Another day I'll be driving my car, I'll be going shopping, buying clothes, etc. Another day I'll be getting the bus, I'll be with all the other different types of people who get the bus, which are usually very different to people who drive cars. What I'm trying to say here is, guys, as you evolve, you become multidimensional because you become every single type of person. You don't just stick to one type of person, you are every type of person depending on what you feel like doing at the time, because you realise that all of humanity, all different types of personalities, all the different archetypes are in you, and instead of being someone that you're truly not as you're growing up, trying to figure out your own individual personality based on the ego, you kind of break out of that, and when you break out of that, you become everybody all at once. Now, when I say everybody all at once, I don't mean you become a nasty person, okay? You don't become a bully. You don't become someone who just goes and robs people, okay? I don't mean that. What I mean, that there is just basically survival techniques based on the ego. So when you get to this level of multidimensional aspect of being, you don't no longer have an ego, because if you had an ego, you'd still be in that one specific paradigm doing the same thing as you've been doing most of your life when you're growing up trying to discover yourself. But once you've discovered yourself and you lose the ego, then because you don't have an ego, there's no reason to be nasty to anybody. So you can go out and do your own thing, be lots of different types of people, but be a nice version of that type of person. Now, this comes with love, okay? So you can, I can go for a walk, okay, like this, looking shady, and people will move out my way. I've heard people say things like, "He looked dodgy," when they walk past us and stuff. But basically, if that happens, okay, like, I know 100% that if one of those people came up to me and say spoke to us, I'd probably put down my hood and be a lovely, nice person, you see. But when you see other people like this, someone who isn't fully gone within or hasn't gone higher up the spiritual evolutionary ladder, their personality is that, you see. So they'll be walking around with a hood up and there will be a dodgy person. So it's very easy for people to judge you when you're doing this, but when you go within and when you've reached a certain level of awareness, you no longer care what other people think of you, you see. So you'll do anything you want. If you want to put on some mountaineering boots and go and walk up the nearest mountain with mountain gear, you'll do that, and you won't care what anyone thinks, you see. If you want to walk with your hood up and look dodgy because you feel like doing that, you feel energetic and you just want to walk around and be inside yourself with your hood up so you don't want anyone to disturb you, you'll do that. If you want to dress up and go out and be nice to people, make people laugh, talk to people, chat to people, you'll do that as well. You'll find that because you've lost the ego, all these abilities just come to you, and you'll be able to do all these things that you never thought you'd be able to do as you were growing up, as you were in the ego stages, you see, because of fear. Because as you're growing up, you've got so much fear, you think people will laugh at you for things, you'll think if you do something someone doesn't like, they're going to judge you, all this. But all that disappears as you go up the spiritual levels of awareness. Some people will say this happens with age as well, which it does, because a lot of older people, elderly people don't care what other people think. I see that as well. But there's two different types here. There's the awakening style of not caring anymore and just enjoying your being. And there's those who get old and don't awaken, but they kind of got a little bit of a chip on the shoulder and they just don't care what other people think of them in a kind of nasty way. But if you're on a true spiritual path, you kind of get to a point where it's all in a loving way. And everything you do, you know that you've created what's known as harmlessness. So whatever you do, whatever you choose to be that day, whatever state of mind you're in that day, you know you're not going to cause any harm to society or harm to anybody else. Whereas most people are walking around still in the ego stage where they are liable to cause harm to society or other people still, because they might be that dodgy person. So it's very easy for people to judge you when you are awakened spiritually. And that good old saying where you cannot judge a book by its cover is very, very real, okay? But it's also not real at the same time, because the majority of people you can judge by the cover, because they may not be on an awakening level where they're being a certain type of person that day, but other days they're a totally different type of person. Do you see what I mean, guys? It's quite hard to explain. I'm probably one of the only people who's ever tried to explain this on YouTube, to be honest, because these concepts are pretty out there. Some people will probably think I'm crazy talking about these things, but I'm sure some of you will know what I mean here. If you can explain it better than I can, please do in the comments, because I'll be very interested to see if you guys understand this, or any of you guys are multidimensional. It even gets to points where you feel like having multidimensional friends. You feel like having a friend in every different archetype, like say a friend who's into rock music, like a gothy friend, a friend who's elderly, who's got loads of experience and very wise, a friend who's younger than you, who keeps things fresh, and you kind of stay on top that way. So there's many different ways of being multidimensional, but most people can never do this, you see, because they don't understand the expansion of consciousness and where that expansion can take you in regards to experience. Because the more you break down those walls of fear and be every type of person there is, okay, without any shame, and do it in a harmless way, the more you'll experience life and kind of enjoy yourself in this reality. And obviously the more you experience of this reality, the less likely it is for you to come back and have to relive it with the idea of reincarnation, etc., etc. So this is very, very out there, guys. I hope you don't think I'm crazy, but please leave your comments. What do you think of that? Become multidimensional. Try things you've never tried before. Make friends with people who you wouldn't even think about making friends with before. Okay, push your boundaries and come out your comfort zone. See what happens, because this is the only way we grow as a species, and as our spirit grows, life becomes more joyful, because the more contrast that we experience, the more we can come to that center point where we can choose to experience whatever we like. And once you get to that position of choice, which is true power gained with spiritual awakening, that's when you have the ability to choose your own experience and live life the way you truly want to live life, and not in a way where society tells you to live life. And a lot of people are still stuck in this paradigm of doing what society tells them the whole life, and then a lot of them get very old and on the deathbed they wish they did something different. So try not to become like that, guys, because that's upsetting. Okay, that's upsetting to me. I don't think that's what we're here for. You could say you only live once, but in my experience, I think reincarnation may very well be a real thing. Nobody knows 100% for sure. We can only go by the near-death experiences and what other people have experienced, but we've only got their word with that, from that. But to me, reincarnation does sound, it sounds very probable based on the reason we're here to experience. And I've said this on other videos before, guys, like literally sometimes the things that you want the least are the things you need the most. And you could, when you're a child, you can look at something or someone and think that they're stupid or crazy doing what they're doing, but it will get to a point eventually, guys, where you'll end up doing that thing as well, because you'll reach a point where you've done everything else and it's just a new experience like everything else. That's it, guys. See you on the next video.